Jeffy, I wanted to ask you as well, because you have a way, way higher tolerance level for comic book nonsense. Batman: The New Adventures, like the sort of kind of fourth season of Batman the Animated Series. Is there anything that I should watch in there? Because every time I get to that point when I'm watching the show, then I'm like, oh yeah, I hate this.
Yes, there is one episode you should watch, and it's called Over the Edge. It's a Scarecrow episode.
Okay.
And it does some cool stuff.
Okay,
cool.
Just one episode. I can commit to one episode.
Yeah, I'll watch that and then I'll stop.
The second episode I would recommend is Growing Pains, which is a Tim Drake-centric episode. Clayface is involved. That's another fan favorite. But yeah, if you're going to watch one, Over the Edge.
I'm actually going to write these down.
I remember watching these when they were new, and it was like the first or second episode. Clayface is just around for some reason, and they don't acknowledge the fact that he was dissipated into a lake previously.
Yeah. Well,
that was really upsetting.
He got better.
He got
better somehow.
Right.
I don't know.
He got better.
Stupid.
There was a time in the era of great chaos when the Earth and the Moon were at war with insert credit. This is episode 263 of the only video game podcast with an array of topics occasionally submitted by an eclectic audience and timed by a horrible buzzer. I'm Alex Jaffe, and the dish I am best at cooking myself is a turkey stir-fry.
Ooh, is this Thanksgiving specific? You just said the dish.
Yeah, just the dish.
Any dish?
Any dish.
Oh, gosh,
Not a Thanksgiving dish. It doesn't have to be Thanksgiving.
Not necessarily.
Okay. Well, I'm Frank Cifaldi, and I'm actually a pretty good cook. So what am I best at? What am I proud of? Just eggs in general. I'm a breakfast eggs man, and I think if I had to pick one style that I excel at, well, I have mastered the French omelet at this point, which is very difficult to do. I did that because someone, maybe Jacques Pepin, said that it's kind of like the ultimate test of a chef. So I was like, I'm going to do that. So I'll make you a French omelet right now.
To me, my eggs, man.
But really, just soft scrambled eggs is something that no one gets right. Everyone pulls them too late, and they become rubbery. But I'm good at keeping them sort of soft and creamy.
I'm Tim Rogers, and the dish I'm best at cooking for myself is, I guess it would be Japanese curry. But I mean, I don't really talk about it too much.
Juicy.
I don't self-identify as a Japanese curry guy. You know, I don't walk around acting like an expert about it. I'm pretty good at making it. I make it for myself, and it's been over 10 years since anyone else has tasted my Japanese curry, and I intend to keep it that way because I don't care. I don't care what anybody else thinks about it.
You know how to cook to your palate. That's important.
Yeah, it's I don't. By my definition, it's very good, and I don't care what anybody else's definition is. Ever since cooking it every time I used to cook it and anybody else would eat it, they would ask why there's not any meat in it, if they could have some meat to put into it, and et cetera, et cetera. And it just drove me so nuts that I started just refusing to let anyone else ever taste it, which made my girlfriend at the time very cartoonishly upset because she said she liked it, but she just wished she could put some meat in it, and I refused to let her to let her put like a pork cutlet in there. She's like, I'm just gonna get I got pork cutlets from the supermarket, and I just want to put it in there. I'm like, no, it's designed to be eaten with plantains. I'm not gonna go into too much of what the experience of it is. It's unique and it's delicious. And thank you.
Give me one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, come on over sometime. I haven't cooked it in a little bit, in a couple of years, but it's quite good. It takes like 12 hours to make is the problem. So
I do occasionally recall when we made that spicy udon soup and nearly killed Azure Laura Corrigan, who just had to lay down on the floor.
That soup was nothing. That soup was nothing.
Yeah, it was. It was fun. It was fun making it in that little place. I'm Brandon Sheffield. I'm just gonna go Thanksgiving because that's what's coming up, and I'll mention that I make a pretty good vegetarian gravy. It's not vegan. It does have butter in it because of starting a
Well,
roux.
you said vegetarian. Like, let's make a hard and fast rule for any time I'm ever on this show. If you say vegetarian, you don't mean vegan.
Yeah,
Okay?
for sure.
I'm not going to clarify anymore. I'm tired of, ever since my mom learned the goddarn word vegan, that was just the harbinger of doom here, is anytime I ever mention anything vegetarian, I get 4 people going, oh, is it vegetarian or vegan?
Yeah,
And I'm like, man, I would have goddarn said vegan.
yeah.
You can trust a vegetarian, a lifelong vegetarian, to know to say when it's vegan and not vegetarian. Don't clarify for people, Brandon.
All right, okay.
Just look at them. Just look at them with a complete look of evil on your face if they ask, do you mean vegan or vegetarian? Say, and then if they ask twice, say, I mean what I said. Just like that. That's what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
All right. So anyway, it's pretty good. You put
Vegetarian
it on
gravy? What's in it? You got mushrooms in there?
there. Heck no, I got no mushrooms in there. Doesn't taste like
Oh.
mushrooms for nothing, of course, which is very good because people love to put mushrooms in a vegetarian gravy. Now it's the flavors mostly come from soy sauce, nutritional yeast, cumin, and a variety of spices that get cooked for a while, and some herbs and such. But
herb it up.
it's really kind of a combo of the soy sauce and the nutritional yeast that get you that into that nutty zone. And
I like calling it nut yeast.
yeah, nut yeast. And then I like to take it to a Thanksgiving function if I'm forced by my mom to attend one, and then watch as my gravy goes faster than the meat one because it's got all those flavors in it.
And it doesn't have mushrooms.
And it ain't got no mushrooms.
You've got the Sonic the Hedgehog of gravy because it goes faster.
That's
Is that
right.
it? Is that the...
That's right.
Oh, so in other words, I just want to point out here,
Yeah.
we've done 3 people's food introductions, 4 people's food introductions here, and the 2 people who don't eat meat basically both said they're good at making a
Sauce.
sauce.
My eggs are not a sauce.
No, I said the 2 people who don't eat meat.
Sorry, you're right.
Yeah. So
well, let's see if our 5th data point can inform us further on that. We're recording this the week of Thanksgiving, so in that spirit, we've invited a close family member over to the table. Insert Credit's very own editor, Esper Clinoanois Quinn.
Hi, everyone. My name's Esper Quinn. I
Wahoo.
am Wahoo. Yeah, absolutely. Wahoo.
That's right.
I am pretty good at making a carbonara that my partner really, really loves, but I think probably the best thing I make is just throw broccoli, carrots, Brussels sprouts, onion, and potato on a sheet pan, season that bad boy up, get some olive oil going, and roast those for 40 minutes. We just call it roasty veggies. I don't really
like
have a good name for it, but it's good for Thanksgiving, good any time of the year.
I do like that you led with the sauce.
good for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you're going to do just fine here, Esper.
So
Because-
wait. If Esper's here, who's editing?
That's
Oh
right.
no!
Who's flying the plane?
I'm just going to pass this one back off to Blaine.
Blaine's back.
Oh, incredible! We've got a little bit of breaking news here. Can I break in with some breaking news?
Please,
Sure.
break it off, baby.
Square Enix has finally announced their NFT related
Oh,
game.
really?
Oh, thank God.
It is called
Thank-
it is called Cryptopath Traveler. That's a joke. I just made that all up. Thank you. Thank you for the joke. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me break
Thank
in
you,
with the
Tim.
breaking news. That's
Thank
pretty
you.
good.
I want you to know that, like, as you were about to say the name, I clicked on the search Twitter bar and was ready to type.
Oh, gotcha. Anybody can break in with some news at any time as long as it's between questions. That's a new rule of the show.
I like it.
Wait, do you like it or
I love it.
That's an accurate illustration, in my
It's one of
opinion.
those.
But while we're establishing the rules of this episode, because we're banking an early recording to get around Thanksgiving, I'm relying on the Dirtbag to supply us with our questions this week. These have all been submitted to us through patreon.com/insertcredit, where you can access the form that allows you to ask these questions for just a few dollars a month. You also
I just
get
want to point out before you finish this explanation here. My Patreon message inbox is not for dirtbag questions for the Insert Credit podcast. Please stop sending them. I get so many of them. They're not for this show. It's not the same thing.
It isn't.
And I want to say, because people keep asking if I'm joking when I say this, I'm not joking. It's not the same thing. I'm sorry.
Well, also,
anyway,
Thank you.
In addition to that, we aren't supposed to see them. The whole point of submitting them in the forum is that we on the panel don't see them. Only Jaffe does. So it is.
If you submit your question to Tim, I can never use it.
Yeah.
And he'll never answer it. So you're just kind of shouting in a void.
If you want me to answer your questions live on my stream, get in the Goblin Bunker, discord.gg/action button, and try to be heard. And maybe it'll happen.
Good luck.
Maybe you got a prayer.
Well, at patreon.com/insert credit, not only can you get this form, you also get monthly bonus episodes and other surprise content that'll drop once in a while. We have over 500 listener-submitted questions in our backlog right now. So I'd like to
get to work. Let's go.
Yeah, we can get through that.
I'd like to clear out a chunk of that. Let's put the timer at 3 minutes per question and see how many we can do.
Yeah, why not?
Our first question is from Max, who asks, what is the most fun or interesting scoring mechanic in a shooting game?
I remember the club had something interesting, but I don't remember what it was. Do you? Any of y'all? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't even know what the game is,
to
be honest with you.
It was one of those British games, and everyone was like, but actually, it's really interesting. I'll look it up while we other people.
The club.
I remember being 12 or 13 when Battlefield 1942 came out, and I didn't play it, but I remember people talking about how in big maps you would get tickets, and I just remember thinking, tickets doesn't seem very World War II to me. So, not those.
They had tickets back then.
Okay, the club is by Bizarre Creations. That's the British aspect. And
How bizarre.
How bizarre. And they have to get through a level as quickly as possible, and the score mechanic has each kill acting as a bonus multiplier with kill methods such as ricochets, headshots, long-range shots, and other things that earn extra points. And after each kill, there's a cooldown to get the next kill before the multiplier reduces. And so it was like a speed-runny oriented multiplayer, but also single-player third-person shooting game. So yeah, all everybody talked about was how much the score mechanic kind of underlined what the gameplay became. And the lead designer described it as a racing game with guns. So.
Sounds like it might be that then, because all I can think of is just K to D ratio.
But there's also, I don't know if we're talking about scrolling shooters, and they were probably thinking about Ikaruga with your black and white switchovers, or caravan mode of, I don't remember which one it was. I think it might have been Star Soldier, where you gain huge bonus points if you shoot an enemy from inside it. It has a very small enclosure inside of it, and if you get in there before it closes, then you get more bonus points. They might have meant stuff like that, but I can't keep those in my brain. So it could just be the club.
Yeah, I think it's the club.
I mean, I don't know. Have you played the club?
I have not.
Has anyone here played the club?
As established, I had never heard of it until this moment. So.
Yeah,
okay.
I loaded it up once.
I've played the club, and I mean, it's whatever, man. It's not that good of a thing. It was something that impressed, let's be perfectly honest, British guys with a very specific haircut were impressed by that. I'm talking the staff of Edge magazine at the time, who I believe all had identical haircuts. They went to the same barber. It was, I think, the editor-in-chief's mom. I'm not sure. So
that's rough.
You want to talk best scoring mechanics? So wait, the question just says shooter. It just says shooter.
It just says shooter, but we're out of time.
People, be more specific. First of all,
it's a good one,
because clearly this person must have meant arcade style shooting game. I'm going to keep going with FPS. The best god darn scoring mechanic is the announcer saying multi kill, mega kill, etc. in Unreal Tournament. That's the best. It's just the reward is hearing the announcer get increasingly freakishly over the top excited. And if you had to have, if you're talking single player games, definitely not Bulletstorm would be my answer for single player campaign style first person shooters.
Okay.
Thank you.
Malcove asks, how would you reintroduce vampires into modern video games?
They're in all the games. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's a weird one. That's
Okay.
a bit of a weird one. How would you reintroduce vampires? Did they fall out of favor in this person's fan fiction here?
Yeah,
How old is this question? How deep is this bag?
everybody loves that vampire game that came out on PS4 a couple years ago, a few years ago.
Vampy?
So I think
Which game?
the one that's just called Vampire with a Y.
Yeah, so the
Oh,
first
yeah.
time Amanda and I saw that, the R was kind of cut off, so it's just forever Vampy. To
Vampy.
us. His name is Vampy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's how they should be introduced. It's just,
Yeah.
this is my buddy Vampy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the question is how to introduce, right? So
No,
formally
reintroduce.
like that? Like,
so I think we already did it.
Oh, you must remember my friend Vampy?
Vampy, yes.
Yeah.
Surely.
I'm just trying to wonder, like, what's happened to the world that people think vampires are no. I mean, vampires are just no longer in video games. Are they not?
No, they're in there.
Is it because there just hasn't been a Castlevania? Is that people's definition of
Vampire Survivor is like
Oh, yeah.
one of the most popular video games of the entire year. So
Have you played it?
I have.
Oh well, I mean, it doesn't have vampires in it. That's the joke. though.
I
It's
know.
probably pretty easy to survive them then, right?
So you would have to reintroduce vampires to
It
that
has
game.
one on the title screen, so it's at the very least introduced.
It's not in the game though.
I just have to say, while they say that there are no vampires in it, I mean, if that's true, why does garlic kill every enemy? Maybe they're all secretly vampires.
A lot of spirits in general just don't like garlic, in the old folklores.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm looking at this list of vampire video games. There's 2 released in 2018, 1 in 2019, none in 2020, and then they're back in 2021. So maybe this question was submitted to us in 2020.
Maybe.
The brief vampire drought.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
vampire hiatus.
I think this person just secretly is asking, wouldn't it, their question really is just, wouldn't it be so cool if they made another 2D Castlevania? I think that's the question they wanted to ask, and the answer to that is, yeah, why not?
Yeah,
I think
dude.
it would be cool. It would be so cool.
Next question. A most handsome boy asks, thoughts on a good Steam? And what happens to be the Steam room of video games?
Oh, I
Thoughts
haven't.
on a good Steam?
I haven't had a Steams in a while, but I used to go every day, every goddarn day, in Japan. I used to go sit in the hot for about 20 some minutes. I used to go at the gym that I went to in San Leandro as well. I like getting the steam. It's good for you, good for your pores.
I don't like it.
You don't like it? Well,
No.
there
Yeah.
you have that.
You know, I already laid out that I'm more into roasting than steaming, but it can be done. It's not a fine way to have broccoli.
Yeah.
That is a good Steam. I don't like how when you try to get a Rockstar game through Steam, it redirects you to a second launcher. It just feels it just feels like you're kind of going in circles.
Oh yeah.
A bad Steam is when you just go crazy on all the sales and your library has like 400 games. That's not a very good Steam.
No.
If we're talking this, isn't the good Steam itch.io?
Yeah.
That's a good
yeah.
Steam.
Yeah, yeah.
I
It used to be
mean-
epic when they started and just gave you free games that were really expensive all the time. They kind of stopped doing that, but I like that.
There's still free games on there. They still
Yeah,
there's-
but it's
there's-
just like Flimble's Quest or whatever.
Oh, they got Flimble's Quest?
They got Flimble's Quest is free.
I think we established last episode that the best Steam is Internet Archive.
Oh, yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. I could back that up.
Yeah, don't pay for anything to
It doesn't have a client though, so I don't know if that counts.
JDownloader, dude.
There you
Oh,
go.
that's right.
And then you just just be meticulous in your archiving. Get a good NAS.
And what's the Steam room of video games?
To take the question somewhat seriously, it would be a video game where you're just kind of chilling out. It would be a game where you're chilling and you do it once a day, late in the day after a strenuous activity. And it's a bit of an endurance challenge, though eventually you become quite numb to the what you would have initially you would consider it a challenge, and then after a while it's just something you do. So I mean, it's probably just if anything fits that definition, it would be any one of those online competitive multiplayer shooting games. I wouldn't say, let's just say Call of Duty Warzone. There you go.
Sure.
Pop it in. No, because you're trying to get to the end, have your victory royale or whatever they call it. That's it, basically. You either get there or you don't.
I got another stupid answer if we want one of those.
We have time for one stupid answer.
Oh, very good. Something like Blink's the Time Sweeper 2, some sort of a game that is high graphical intensity but inefficiently programmed on your original Xbox that'll just heat up your room. Because
makes it a steam room.
Is working so hard and makes it a steam room. It just you need put a little water on it, and there you go.
Yeah.
Real quick, under the buzzer, it's not a room, but that hot spring in Earthbound moment's pretty good.
Yeah. There you go. Hot spring. That's almost a room.
Yeah, there's steam coming off of that.
That's right.
I like them better in Mother 3. It's got that song.
There you go.
I mean, I've got to say, as someone who used to take really hot baths all the time, and also used to go into the steam room after the hot bath, I'm not endorsing this confusion of them as being similar things. Thank you. They're not the same thing. Everybody don't. It's all well and good to have fun on a podcast, but
until the actually people come for you. Here's a question from ColdPie. ColdPie asks, computer hardware manufacturer Asus has a sub-brand called Republic of Gamers.
Yeah, Republic of Gamers, yeah.
What type of tourism opportunities would you take advantage of if you were to visit the Republic of Gamers?
Free cans of Surge.
Yeah.
And NOS.
Just want to point out, Republic doesn't necessarily refer to a place, by the way, just so everyone's clear on that.
Go on.
It's like Federation. It's
okay.
It's an association.
The premise of this question is, suppose
I know.
in this case it does.
Just correcting the question.
Like,
ask her here.
I'm sure ColdPie appreciates that.
I mean, this isn't an intended feature, but I'd kind of like to find like a statue to topple.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I want to be ferried around in a golf cart where all the chairs are gamer chairs. I think that would actually be probably nice.
That would
Have
be
you ever
nice.
driven a golf cart, anybody?
Yeah,
Oh,
of course.
God, that's the dream.
I have.
They're really fun.
The one time I drove one, I'm kind of proud of this. I went early in my journalism career. I went a little bit early to the DICE Summit, and there was a golf tournament of game developers. So I worked with the PR people at the golf club and followed people around in a golf cart, reporting on the golf game and who among the games industry people won the tournament.
Who was good? Do you remember?
I barely knew any of them. I hadn't really heard them. They were all like biz dev people. You know what I mean? So they're not people that you tend to see interviews with and stuff most of the time.
These are people who probably golf.
Yeah.
Actually, there was a Sony guy, maybe I won't say his name, who did shatter the window of a house
That rules.
while we were there. And later on, you may remember this, Brandon. We were brought into an E3 party at a baseball field that we weren't supposed to, and the guy who brought you the tickets was the same guy who broke the windows.
Dodger Stadium.
Very good. Yeah, that was a good event. We got a
good bag.
Really good roller bag from there.
Yeah.
I think that's our answer. Go golfing. That's what we do there.
Go golfing.
BreadyToDie asks, have you ever played the sequel of a game before the original? If so, would you have enjoyed the sequel as much if you'd played the original game first?
I mean, this is cheating, but I played Yakuza 0 first, which is a prequel sequel.
Yakuza 0 is absolutely a sequel. Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that it starts first.
Yeah.
Or that it takes place before the other ones.
And I do think that playing it first, despite being a sequel, is actually a pretty good way to go if you want to.
It's pretty decent.
Be engaged with the Yakuza series for a long time. Starting with that one is a good way to go, I think.
I actually, it started as a joke, though. I started to devise like a sort of alternate, like the ideal way to play Yakuza, which is to play. I'm not gonna give you exact timestamps, listener. You're gonna have to find those for yourself, or await my upcoming expose in Game Breakers magazine or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Though you play a little bit of Yakuza Kiwami, then a little bit of Yakuza 0, then you flip back to Yakuza Kiwami, and until eventually you then play the rest of one of those two games. Won't tell you which. I unraveled it for everyone.
Yeah, that's a fun way to go.
Yeah. And I mean, I just want to say that the central conceit of this question seems to grazingly overlook the fact that some of the more popular video game series don't really have anything resembling coherent plot continuity between installments.
Yeah.
Like the Final Fantasy games, like a huge, I would say a majority of Final Fantasy players played, for example, Final Fantasy 7 before Final Fantasy 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1, So, I mean, I played Final Fantasy 1 first, but I played Final Fantasy 4 long before I ever played Final Fantasies 2 and 3. And did it affect my my opinion of when I played Final Fantasy 2 and 3? Oh, absolutely. I kind of hated Final Fantasy 2. And I kind of despised Final Fantasy 3. So now I'm cool with all of them, but it does that, man.
I'm gonna bring this one back. I think the majority of us played Ninja Gaiden before we ever played Ninja.
Sure,
That's right.
true.
Pretty good.
And a quick non-joke answer is most everyone in the States who played these games played Earthbound before playing Mother 1.
Yep,
Of course.
I was going to bring that up.
That is true.
And would I have liked Earthbound more if I had played Mother 1 first? Hard to say. I actually think I might like it less because there's some ideas that he carried over from 1 that don't make sense in 2. Like the collecting of the melody makes absolutely no sense in Mother 2, whereas it is the core of Mother 1. So I might have actually been a little disappointed if I had played the first one first.
I'm not sure which Madden was my first, but I did not catch up on the prequels.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
fair.
I think Tony Hawk 2 was the first one I played. I still haven't played the first one.
Huge PS. I've seen a lot of debate, and I wonder if this is where it comes from, about which Nier you should play first, Automata or...
Oh, yeah, I played Automata before the original.
And everybody kind of has a different experience of how they appreciate because each has references to the other essentially kind of retroactively. And so, like, you can choose either direction and have a fulfilling time. So that's kind of cool. Okay, bye.
Play the original Nier first. Pannekoeken asks, what has happened to rhythm games? Why haven't I heard of a cool Parappa or Gitaru Man in ages?
They're all mobile games now.
Yeah, they're mobile games and arcade games. So there's Groove Coaster, of course. There's Theater Rhythm. There's tons of arcade games. Those are just two big ones, but a lot of games in the arcade.
I believe it's pronounced Theatrhythm.
Theatrhythm.
I mean, that's what I do believe it. That's not a...
I was going to say, I don't know if that's a joke, but that is how I pronounce it. Yeah.
That's not a jokey. I believe it's pronounced. It's a...
Oh, really?
I believe it's pronounced Theatrhythm.
Cool.
Though, that doesn't really, that doesn't really have any bearing on whether or not that game's
It
cool.
is consistent with the fact checker character you've developed for this episode.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Why not keep doing it, right?
I know people on this podcast aren't crazy about it, but I like Beat Saber. That's a fun take on it. My partner is extremely good at all the trashy Bushiroad gotcha rhythm games. Like, really incredible skill at that.
This question seems to specifically be asking after a story style game, I believe, right? Jaffe, the question specifically mentions Parappa and Gitaru Man, right?
Those are the two, yes.
Yeah, so something like Theatrhythm doesn't exactly fit that. However, they might have a little bit of a story between stages in those games, but it's nothing like Parappa where the most and the least we can say about it is Parappa's narrative happens both in the cutscenes and during the songs, and morphs based on your performance at the songs, right? So, like, the better you do in the songs leading up to the finale, you get the better ending if you rap cool the whole time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the question of why are there not games like that now is Masaya Matsuura, one of the most brilliant people on the face of the earth, maker of Parappa the Rapper, one of my favorite musical artists of all time. I think he's up there.
I can agree with that.
I think he just got bored, and I think he decided to make weirder stuff like Vibrip and Mojibrip, and right, like just kind of making weird stuff. If he would have stuck with making Parappa type games, maybe he would have Katamari'd more people into the idea. I mean, Gitaru Man's cool. Something like Samba de Amigo is, it seems like it's a Parappa-like, but it's not really. No. It's more of just an arcade rhythm game. So we started to see the Velcro get pulled apart after Parappa and Gitaru Man. Like the idea of your cold rhythm game, like your Guitar Freaks becoming Guitar Hero Rock Band, like that got pulled and stripped away from Parappa, and then the personality heavy Samba de Amigo style stuff got sequestered in a corner and eventually kind of shriveled up and died, went the way of the Dreamcast and such, right? I don't see why we don't have god darn Broadway musical video games, right? Yeah. So there's just such a wide variety of human arts which have yet to be touched by the long, nasty forefinger of the video game designer as a collective, yet to be touched, to be graced with the Midas touch. And quite frankly, sad. It's even disgusting in a certain light. Why don't we have fun musical video games? I don't know.
I want to bring up something that theoretically might contribute to the lack of rhythm games on home consoles.
Theatrhythmically?
Yeah, I just posted in the general chat here that it is pronounced theatrhythm according to at least Wikipedia and this Japanese pronunciation.
I believe that's wrong.
Okay.
So
actually, Brandon, theater in Japanese is shiatoru, so it's not tori. It's not tori, so it's not theater rhythm. It's theater rhythm. So it's basically
it's
I don't
know. Close.
The answer is maybe they don't even know.
Something that I think maybe is worth bringing up is that home video game consoles plus your displays have introduced more and more input latency over the years. And so a parappa-like snappy rhythm game is much harder to accomplish now and much harder to tune in a way that's going to, people are going to complain that they don't feel good. And it's just because our technology is kind of moving away from that style of game being possible for everyone.
Man, has anybody here tried to play the original Parappa in the last 10 years?
Yeah.
I would use the word bad. I would say it feels bad to play.
To wrap
Flat
both those
out
points
bad.
together, I forget if I talked about this on the show, but I was walking around Osaka Castle with Masaya Matsura and talking about at the time, the new Parappa, the Parappa Redux was coming out or was getting made, and it was based on the PSP one, which he had worked on as well, which was based on the PlayStation 1, and we talked about the input latency problem, and he was basically like, it's incredibly difficult to solve, and I don't think we've solved it. So, the PSP one is kind of the best version of it that you can get, but translating that into HD screens now, because
it looks nice. The Parappa on PS4 looks nice.
Yeah, it does. It's just hard. It's hard to play. So he was aware of it, but did not solve the problem.
Well, I mean, the way they could just, they could just a little bit of getting over oneself as a game designer could also go a pretty long way for games like this. Just if people get it within, I don't know, let's just
make it more generous.
Jaws of life, that window wide open, and then just play the sound at the right time. I don't know.
Well, it's why I was careful to say a Parappa-like rhythm game is difficult to do.
I mean, I think a Parappa, if one were to make a Parappa-like rhythm game, they could benefit by just giving it a little bit more stuff than Parappa, Just give it a little more stuff. Let people run around and put dancing in there. I don't know. People know how to use an analog stick now, right?
I actually really I've mentioned this on here, I really liked in Yakuza 5 the whole Haruka dancing sequence. At first I didn't like that rhythm game because it was kind of complicated and weird, but as it got along, I actually quite enjoyed it, and it felt snappy and pretty good, and I would say that's the closest to a Parappa-like music game that I have seen, and it also fulfills the running around. Make a whole game out of that. I challenge you, Sega. Make it and I'll play it.
Like I said,
full price.
There are so many human arts yet to be touched.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, let's just do it, dude.
That's a good segue to my next question. This is from Dilson, who asks, so there are cooking bits in a weird amount of video games, right? The only ones I can think of are boring. Which ones aren't?
Well, first of all, Ore no Ryori for PlayStation 1, you scrub. You absolute freak. Play Ore no Ryori. Has anyone here not played Ore no Ryori? I don't know. Let's just don't even tell me if you haven't. Just pretend you have.
I want you to know I inhaled and moved my lips to the mic, and then you said don't, and then I backed off. You couldn't see that.
So first of all, can I just say, I've been playing Breath of the Wild recently. Cool game, whatever. The cooking stuff kind of sucks, dude. Like, who cares? I don't like cooking. It's not funny after 5 minutes. And I keep doing it, obviously. I think, Cooking Mama is okay. I don't know if Cooking Mama, the cooking carries a whole game. But then again, I'm spoiled by having played Ore no Ryori at an early age. Or about as early an age I could.
As we all are.
Sure.
Yeah.
So if you have not played Ore no Ryori, check out the Internet Archive. Find the Redump PlayStation 1 collection. If you're, maybe not on a Chromebook, but any good laptop, you can probably run a PlayStation 1 emulator, EPSXE or a PCSX2, or I don't know what any of them are called anymore because I just have a fancy PlayStation. Play that game with a dual analog controller. That's a game about cooking, and it's real good. I also like that Yoshinoya game for PS2 as well.
Yeah.
So PS2 would be my answer here. Play a PS1 or a PS2 game.
Yeah, I like Yakiniku Bugyo.
That one's all right, yeah.
It's a different kind of game than Ore no Ryori. Whoa, I can't speak. But it's more of like a time management game, but it is very fun because you're trying to grill all these meats and veggies and give them to the right customers, but you have to manage their the flipping and the cooldown and all that kind of stuff to deliver it to customers at their desired like cooking point and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty fun. I enjoy. So you can give that a look for a different flavor.
I was actually talking to Frank earlier about Ore no Ryori, about how much he loves it.
Oh yeah,
and, he was.
Right.
So
it was a bit earlier when I was pretending I don't know what this game is. Yeah.
He's gonna pretend he didn't.
There's some indie games with interesting cooking mechanics. I think Overcooked is fun, where you're just running around with another person.
It's an action game.
I think
kinda.
The less cooking feels like crafting, the better. To me, like the problem with making a good cooking
it just
mechanic,
is crafting these days. Most of the time,
the
right?
thing is, like, cooking involves a lot of patience, which makes it kind of not a fun video game mechanic. Like, you shouldn't take things off before they're ready. You should keep stirring things longer than you think you have to.
See, that's where Ore no Ryori triumphs by having you can't cook the thing too long.
Exactly.
But it's like 5 seconds, right? So it's like, I don't know. I love that game, man. Cooking in Final Fantasy 15 is actually pretty decent as well because it's just ingredients you happen to have on your person, and you just choose what do you want to eat, and then it has actual benefits that last for some sort of a time. You don't have to move any analog sticks to maneuver your dude's fingers around as he cuts onions or whatever. But it's just cooking via a menu. What should we eat? And then having it have meaningful consequences and also look like food. That's fun.
Well, I'm kind of a sucker for the human element of that game. So it's like I'm cooking for my boys. There's some motivation there.
They're goddamn good boys, man.
Yeah.
They deserve a good meal.
Gladiolus, Prompto, Noctis, and let's not forget about Ignis.
How could we?
Or as
We
I
shan't.
like to call them, or Raphael, Michelangelo, Leonardo, and Donatello.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
They're the Ninja Turtles.
looks like we have a fresh one here from Ripley Rose, who's given us a prompt for an improv zone. Congratulations, everybody. We made it.
They did not.
Brandon, you are Sonic the Hedgehog.
That's true.
Esper, you're Miles Tails Prower.
Okay.
Tim and Frank, you're two Tokyo Metropolitan Police detectives explaining why you're arresting their dad.
Wait.
Okay, so sorry. It's who are the two characters again?
It's Sonic and Tails and
Sonic and
two
Tails.
Tokyo Metropolitan Police
We have the
detectives.
same dad?
I mean, I guess, right?
Just for this?
Oh, you haven't played the Sonic games for a while, I guess.
Sonic's dead.
Gosh, Sonic. That's my Tails impression.
Yeah, I get it. Boy, I'm sure enjoying this chili hot dog, but I wish my dad wasn't taken away by the cops.
Yeah, I don't like cops at all.
This is a really strange conversation to be having within this room right now when we're explaining some hard
I'm a
concepts.
hedgehog.
That is true, yeah. The DNA confirms that. But
Thank you.
listen,
Where's my dad?
Yeah, about that. So your dad, has he ever talked to you about this offshore bank?
No, I mean, we got emeralds. You talking about the emeralds?
秘密基地はどこだ?
It's I don't know where it is.
I pick up rings, but I don't really hold them.
Son, are you familiar with the term blood emeralds?
No.
Emeralds.
No,
Is that like Chaos Emeralds?
It's chaotic. Yeah.
Another chili dog.
Your dad is dead. He hanged himself in his cell.
No.
He hanged
Papa.
himself.
We gotta save him.
You think Sonic says Papa?
お前らの父親エッグマン博士は死んだぞ。
That's not my dad. Come on.
エッグマン博士。死んだぞ。
Then I could get his emeralds.
Your father, Eggman, was into some really very scary stuff with some very scary people, and he's I'm sorry to say not available to love you anymore.
ジェフリー・エプスティンのごとき自殺しました。
No, that's me, Sonic. Can I call my human girlfriend, or do I have to stay here? And
彼女も逮捕されました。
Is your
No.
James Marsden our dad?
ジェームズ・マーズデンはいない。
Yeah, I know.
If it's any
彼は
consolation,
パスポートを持っていない。
if it's any consolation, kids, he went fast.
Oh, well. That's a good
I
way
think
to
we
go.
have to call it there. I think that's it.
That's a good way to
Yeah.
go.
Oh, God.
Right on.
Okay, free Yuji Naka / good riddance Yuji Naka, whatever the facts turn out to be.
Yuji Naka is their dad. Is
Yeah, that was the
I said
thing.
I said Dr.
Oh.
Eggman was their dad. I thought that was
We
funnier.
cooperated as good detectives and said Dr. Eggman was their
Yeah,
dad.
good
So-
cop and bad cop agree.
Well, no, Yuji Naka actually was Dr. Eggman.
Oh,
It
wow.
all makes sense now.
That's
Wait,
why
did-
he's in jail.
Wait, did Yuji Naka die in jail?
No.
I should Google
Breaking
this.
news.
Is that Square Enix's next crypto game? Is Yuji
Yeah.
Naka dies in jail?
Yuji
Naka
Naka dies in prison.
We'll be right back.
Oh my God! Wait! Hold on! Breaking news.
Yeah.
I'm getting a live feed from the jail.
Yeah.
Yuji Naka is he's still alive,
Oh, good.
and he's planning revenge.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
He's going to Photoshop us all out.
This is some incredible journalism right here.
a Cryptopath Traveler actually looks pretty good. I'm watching the trailer now. Instead of 8 main characters, there's 10,000.
They're all on the blockchain.
And they're like $2,000 each, and only one person can get them. So that's fun. Cryptopath Traveler.
That's right.
Yeah. I'll take an astral chain over a blockchain any day.
God, Astral Chain is $41 on the Nintendo eShop right now as part of their Black Friday Cyber Monday deal.
Nintendo
So-
eShop.
Yeah, you'll be listening to this on Cyber Monday, so take advantage of those savings. We'll be right back after a quick break.
So we've probably gotten through like 200 questions, right? That's probably most of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
250.
We'll have to pick up the pace a little bit to do 300 in the second half. But
We can get it.
We've done 8. We've done 8 questions.
Wow, 800.
Pretty
All right.
good.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're good at this.
Yeah.
We sure are. Welcome back to Insert Credit. Our next question is from Gaagaagiins, who asks, when has a video game adaptation been objectively better than the source material?
Dante's Inferno. That's a joke.
Is it though?
How good is the original?
How good can poetry be?
I mean, it's hard. It's hard to read,
Yeah.
but so maybe it is better.
I don't want to read that.
I guess I'd
Stop it.
Maybe it is better.
I'll quit defending it just because it's words.
No, Dante's Inferno is actually pretty good, but also that game's not very good. So it's not a.
Yeah.
It's.
Are you willing to admit that a game could be better than the original?
Yeah, you
And
could
it just
do
ain't
something
it.
with it. Yeah, you could do something
right.
with it, but that game
I'm
doesn't
thinking
do nothing
about,
with
like,
nothing.
Street Fighter the movie is a B movie, and Street Fighter the arcade game is a B game, but I think it's a little better.
That was going to be my joke answer. Yeah,
Ah.
that Street Fighter the movie, the game is better than Street Fighter the movie.
The movie.
Well, for me, it was a real
Yeah.
answer.
Oh, actually, on that note, I believe that Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game of the movie,
Oh, yeah.
is better
Oh,
than
yeah,
Peter
there you
Jackson's
go.
King Kong, the movie.
100%. "'Twas beauty killed this beast" is not a line in the video game, and so
Well, no,
it's
you
a line
didn't
in
do
the
it correctly. It's a line in the original, yes, but in Peter Jackson's King Kong, it's read by Jack Black, who is playing Jack Black. So it's like, "'Twas beauty that killed the beast." Ha ha.
yeah.
Well,
It's a
he's
very good
playing
Jack Black
He's
impression.
playing a Hollywood charlatan of a sort.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. What do I know?
It's
That
like
movie-
the original line was meant to sound kind of deep, like, even though it's not, but it's fine. It doesn't matter. Like, that was the intent, and it just kind of lost all context going through the Jack Black machine.
Well, I believe in Peter Jackson's King Kong. The character of the director is kind of is more informed by decades of cultural understanding of what kind of person a big, soulless, joyless movie studio executive, pandering kind of just like hard luck, wild, bonkers, living the life movie director is. Whereas in King Kong's time, it was less of a trope. So we can't really blame Jack Black for the delivery of that line.
I can do what I want.
You can do it. I mean, you can try it. You can give it a shot. Get him on here. See what he thinks. He wouldn't come on this show.
An opinion that I remember hearing a lot 10 years ago was, you played that Chronicles of Riddick. It's better than the movie.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, I remember hearing that.
Yeah, I don't think that's true.
That's the Chronicles of Riddick video game is cool. The Chronicles of Riddick movie is cool. It's important to note that the game is not an adaptation of the movie.
It's like a continuation or something, right?
It is another story in that world.
Mhm.
So that's even more luxurious than Philosoma.
Or it's like a side story or something. Yeah, because you do start in the prison.
Yeah, but it provides essential context for understanding events in the film. It's kind of neat.
I
It's
do enjoy those
It's a
movies.
companion piece.
I think most video game adaptations of World War II were probably better than being in World War II.
That's true.
Oh, yeah. And by the same token, I would say that the Lego Star Wars Skywalker saga was better than Rise of Skywalker.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
won't argue that.
I haven't played it, but I would say yeah.
I had a weird situation here because I had a vague memory of there being a Casablanca video game, which I guess there is.
It's like a Japanese text adventure that has almost nothing to do with it. But
Right.
That's it.
So I was looking it up, and I got this news report: explosion at Casablanca video game arcade
Breaking
kills
news.
one, which is
Oh.
terrifying.
Oh, that's
The
sad.
end.
Yeesh.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was a bad riff on a pre-established joke. Why would you do that, Brandon?
I didn't.
I'm going to reel it back in. Is that game better than Casablanca?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Casablanca's good. I've seen some people recently. I'm not going to name names or nothing, but I've seen people being like, "Citizen Kane is just not a good movie."
What?
That's
And
baloney.
yeah, I've
That's
seen it. I've
baloney.
seen it a lot.
Citizen Kane rules.
Was that some performative tweeting? Is that what that was?
Yeah. Well, that's most of social media in general. Breaking news: Twitter's down. It's gone. I'm just kidding. That's not going to happen.
We're free.
It's not. It's not going to happen. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, I saw someone also after saying I saw people saying that about Citizen Kane, and I saw it getting retweeted and mentioned, and I was like, I was like, if somebody tries that with Casablanca, I'm going to get a little upset. And then I did see someone try it with Casablanca, but it didn't get as much traction. Casablanca is not a good movie. I saw somebody say something to that effect.
Any Casablanca adaptation that doesn't keep the musical number, you're doing it wrong.
Casablanca is good.
Yeah.
Put it in a pipe and smoke it.
Here's our next question from Anonymous. In the
Don't
past,
care.
it
No, I'm
was
just kidding.
in the past, it was common for single-player games to come packaged with a standalone competitive multiplayer game mode, like Donkey Kong 64 or Sonic Heroes. What game should have gotten one but didn't? And what would it have looked like?
I mean, almost every game should have a PvP one-on-one mode in there.
Yeah.
We need to, one-on-one is fun on fun. I mean,
I have an edit request, which is right after Tim said one-on-one is fun on fun, there was a really weird sound that came in the background, a really weird alarm. And
that's
I
probably
think
police sirens.
A police siren. Yeah, I think you should just kind of hold on that siren that immediately happened after
That's
that
the
joke.
fun on fun siren.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I went through all of Transistor. That game ends with like a big battle between someone who is basically another player character in terms of what they can do and abilities and stuff.
Mhm.
And that was the coolest part of that game to me.
Best way to end a game.
Yeah.
Okay, so is it just any multiplayer mode? Is that the question? Or
What
is
multiplayer mode would you put onto a single player game that didn't have one?
Got it.
Did it specify competitive multiplayer?
It did not.
Okay.
So you can specify that type.
Oh,
like
it
they're
did.
asking what-
Yes, it
Oh,
did specify
Yeah.
competitive multiplayer. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, and I've mentioned this at great length before. I think any of those Eagavania, Castlevania games, Aria of Sorrow, which ends the penultimate boss being Julius Belmont, a vampire hunter, and you have fully become the vampire at that point. Spoilers for Aria of Sorrow, in case you're 20 years late or whatever to that one. You're actually Dracula, dude. Oh my God. Did you know this? Did you guys
Vampires
know this?
are back.
You're actually Dracula.
That's how you reintroduce vampires.
I'm actually Dracula. You're Dracula.
Actually,
Wait, I played the
Dracula.
sequel to that, and I didn't know that.
Dawn of Sorrow. Oh, yeah, well, that's because you exorcised the Dracula from yourself.
I
You
see.
expunge it with the help of trained vampire assassins. You're able to meticulously extract the Dracula. Extractula, the Dracula. You're Dracula, and you Extractula the.
Am I having a stroke?
Man, I thought it was so funny in that What We Do in the Shadows show where they're having like a meeting of the World Vampire Council and they get Scott Bakula in there and he's like, I'm not actually a vampire. And they're like, we just like you though. We like that was very good to me.
That's a good joke.
And they also have Wesley Snipes in there.
Yeah.
Which is also good
He's
because
a daywalker.
in the world of What We Do in the Shadows, every vampire loves the movie Blade, which is a real fun detail. They all think it's the best vampire movie.
They're
Yeah,
right.
there's a whole season about the blood sprinklers.
Yeah.
Oh God, the blood sprinkler. Did you see that show, Brandon?
Yep.
Yeah, pretty good show. Whatever. Oh,
Next
what?
Next
Yeah,
question is Ross
good.
Hamrick, who asks, what arcade racing game has the best or most satisfying manual transmission gear shift control?
I feel like none of them for that I have tried. I actually never, despite having driven a manual transmission car for the last 30 years, that's not true. I haven't been able to drive a car for 30 years.
Yes.
Let's say 25 years, however long it's been that I've been able to drive. I never do manual transmission in games because it doesn't feel right and it makes me confused because it doesn't feel like actual gear shift situation. And I'm sure there's ones that are good, but I haven't encountered it. So that's my long way of saying I don't know.
So you're talking arcade. So I actually, I really like driving manual transmission in games with my Xbox Elite controller, where I can use the paddles for shifting. It's really fun. But obviously, that's not what the kind of shifting people like. The hardcore people like to remove their hand from the wheel to shift. I really like the paddle shifting in F355 Challenge, the arcade game. If I have to pick one, do you ever play a Ferrari F355 Challenge by Sega? You ever play this in the arcade? It's from 1999. It's a Yu Suzuki AM2 game. Y'all know this?
You know we all have.
Of course.
Yeah, I guess everybody's played this one. It has a really nice steering wheel with really nice paddles that feel really good on it. If I just had to pick a game off the top of my head.
I have nothing to contribute because I don't drive stick. I'm a little baby.
I interpreted the question as being like which actual physical paddle mechanism in the arcade feels the most realistic
Yeah, I
slash
think
best.
The paddle shifting is definitely the best way to go with the arcade racing games. Like they didn't specify the like actual on the console shifting.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, paddle shift is just. Can we just clear the air here for the listener? It has been 6 months, but that 6 months is too short a time. It has been 6 months since I saw a bumper sticker that said something to the effect of, well, this one exactly said, "Real men drive stick," and it was, I'm ashamed to admit, on the bumper of a 1995 BMW M3. So I feel like we need to say here, paddle shifting is actual manual transmission. I know that there's people who think paddle shifting sucks or whatever. I don't know. It's just kind of how manual transmission is now on the more performance cars. And also, driving stick doesn't necessarily make you like a genius or a lumberjack, right? Brandon's not a lumberjack, right?
Not as far as I can tell.
Have you jacked any lumber, Brandon?
Actually, I was at Home Depot the other day, and they couldn't get the scanner to work on this piece of lumber that I was trying to purchase, and they just let me have it. So I did.
You have jacked lumber.
Yeah, it was last week.
No, it's not jacked unless you take it by force.
Unless I steal it, yeah. I didn't steal it. But, like, I felt like I did when I walked by the security guard.
Yeah.
Because I knew it wasn't on my receipt. So
they probably let you take it because they know you drive manual transmission.
Exactly.
Right. That's right.
Oh, this guy drives stick.
Shoved it in my Honda Prelude.
That all tracks.
At any rate, I also think the shifter in the Outrun 2 machines, the more deluxe cabinets in Japan.
Yeah, it's fun to use.
That shifter feels good.
Oh, yeah.
But the best shifter stick in all of arcades can be found on any Sega branded Initial D game. So that's my final answer. They've got very nice sticks. They're made with the nice actual parts.
That makes sense.
Maybe I'll rewatch Initial D next. That's a good idea.
Smoke it, dude. It's got all that music in it.
Yeah.
Initial D rules. I like Initial D for a lot of reasons.
I just want to say at this point that we do get a fair amount of questions asking me about my taste in video games, and I'd like to say, I don't want to share it. It's not important. That's not what I'm here for.
You mention it sometimes.
Sometimes when it comes up, but that's not my role here.
Oh.
Here's a question from Cole, who asks, is it a coincidence that Japanese video game scores are so good, or do you believe that much of the country's talent gravitated towards video games since it was one of their largest media-centric exports?
Well, I'm going to say that that's not something that's just true. Especially today, Japanese video game soundtracks are just as generic as many others. Like the
Demiakas is good though.
The ratio of generic to cool is pretty even across Japan and everywhere else at this point. Back in the day, the difference was that for a few, like on the Genesis, for example, they just had better tools, and they had like someone whose job was making a sound driver for this game or whatever. But I also think that back in the day, everyone was trying to emulate YMO or Cassiopeia.
Yeah, everybody wanted to be YMO.
Yeah, and
basically.
That just made cool music, because if you chip little bits off of YMO, you still got something good. But at the same time, you talk about Europe, like on the Amiga and whatnot, like they had some hot tunes on there. So
yeah, they also had a lot of diarrhea on there, though. I mean, no offense, I've done.
It's true, but they had some really hot stuff and all the.
I've dove deep in that diarrhea, and I can tell you, there's a lot of nonsense in the soundtracks.
Sure, but I'm just saying there's good stuff everywhere, and I don't know that Japan gets to win the prize without a fight.
I've done the due diligence into diarrhea, and I can tell you, I would say, if you put a gun to my head, Japan does win.
Yeah.
First of all, old games.
The 90s.
Always going to be more old games than new games, first of all.
True.
We're talking like the NES, the Famicom, the Genesis, the Duo, the all of those vintage crusty old consoles, all the way up through PS2 or so. There's a lot of delicious tunes on there.
For sure.
And meanwhile, in the West, we had bizarre individuals gatekeeping music. In Japan, guys
Tommy
like
Tallarico.
Yeah, I'm getting to him in a second. Okay. Okay. So in Japan, you had like Yuzo Koshiro, a guy who loved YMO and Ryuichi Sakamoto and J-Jazz Fusion, and he's playing his music on his keyboard on the street and selling cassettes and whatever. He just gets hooked on video games, and he's like, I'm going to be a video game guy. I'm going to make music for some video games, right? And then it's like he gave himself and everything he had to the video game medium, and he continues giving himself to the video game medium these days. All of his newer soundtracks, guys, god darn fine wine. He gets better with age. Best soundtrack Yuzo Koshiro ever did is god darn Etrian Odyssey 4. right? And it's like decades after he burst onto the scene.
He's definitely one of those people that still has it. There's a lot of people that don't.
He's got more of it now.
I'm not going to name him, but Koshiro, he's. I think the thing with him is I don't perceive him as ever stopping paying attention to what's going on.
He never stopped listening.
Yeah, he's still listening to me. And a lot of these guys, like, I love Yasunori Mitsuda, but like the new Mitsuda is not the old Mitsuda because it's still like I've only listened to Gaelic music since the time I was trying to make Gaelic music.
Okay, so I've played a whole bunch of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and I know that he has a studio now. It's not just him, but that studio does fine work. I would say fine work that has moved at least a couple of centimeters away from the Barnes and Noble world music CD rack. No offense. Oh my God, get blasted, Mitsuda, Lord. So anyway, in the West, we've got who do we have standing up for Western music composers? We've got Tommy Tallarico, Double T, TT, a man who is, you say his name in the 90s in a Kmart, right? And someone's going to turn around and go, "You're talking about the guy who did the music for Earthworm Jim," right? And it's like, I can't remember. And this is the thing. Memory's like basically my thing, right? I do not have a single musical phrase with the Tallarico signature on it in my head anywhere.
Sure.
The man boasts a list of credits longer than, anyone's in the video game industry at some point, right? And it's like, where is any of the music in there? It's all just styrofoam. Styrofoam at worst, cardboard at best, or the other way around.
Some people really do like it, which is confusing to me. Like, if you look at...
They don't have a personality.
Best video game, like best Genesis soundtrack or whatever, that Lorenzo's Soil song is going to come up, and it's like 3 minutes of just one little sequence that it's not good.
It sounds like music a guy makes for your game at a game jam. That's what it sounds like.
Well, I mean, something that I have heard about his compositions is that he just kind of noodled around on guitar and then someone transcribed it. But I don't know. I mean, this is who knows what is true with that guy.
Yeah. So I think me and Frank both watched the H-Bomber Guy video about Tallarico. Very good. You should. Well, I said me and Frank.
Yeah.
Because I assume Brandon.
You should watch it.
Yeah, Brandon doesn't watch YouTube videos.
It'll be in the show notes.
He doesn't even own a TV, everybody.
Yeah, I don't have a television.
He doesn't even own a TV.
Thinking underground moles.
But we got Tim Fallon.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Fallon, he's not a musician. He's just a guy, man. He's just a guy.
He's really good at making
music. We got Grant Clown Shoes Kirkhope.
Oh, yeah, Grant Kirkhope. Lordy.
We got Jesper Kidd. We got Trent Reznor making
there
Quake.
You go.
Technically,
we got Michael Jackson.
We do have Michael.
We got Michael Jackson in the UK. We got Richard Jakes. I mean, you can't beat the Jakes.
You've got to survive. You've got to stay alive.
I have to do those things.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I still think you got your. I think just your Japan. So
no, I mean, Japan does win, but I don't think that today. It's
not a flawless victory. Yeah.
You look at Sonic Frontiers, and there's some good songs in there, but there's a lot of just like
Sonic Frontiers is pretty good. Yeah.
But there's also a lot of just like sad oboes. It's just like Skyrim, the Sonic game. It's like, come on, man.
You know what game had one of the best soundtracks in a long time? Is that Cyberpunk 2077, and it's just full of European sounding industrial. Sort of techno stuff, and there's like 100 licensed songs in there. I heard a song in that game and I was like, this song is good, and then I much later realized it was by Grimes. So yeah,
they got you.
It was. I was like, but you know what?
Grimes had good music in the earlier period.
Well, I mean, Grimes also had a good song in the year 2020 with that Cyberpunk 2077 song. So whatever, man. I don't know.
Good music, bad decisions.
Grimes and misdemeanors.
Yeah, I'm tough enough to admit, that song's all right, whatever.
Here's our next question.
Yeah.
I think we've answered that. This is from Kiko B.
Oh, Kiko! Yeah, what's up? I know Kiko.
Hi, Kiko. Which two video game franchises would be improved by swapping protagonists?
Ooh.
This wouldn't be a simple visual change. The character's physical properties and gameplay mechanics would carry over as well.
Despite what everyone in the 90s tried to do, not Sonic and Mario, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
People kept trying to do that.
God, what if you gave Sonic or Mario a gun? Jazz Jackrabbit. That's the answer.
I don't know. Put Celeste in a Mario. Why not? Oh, wait, they have to work if you switch. Like, both have to work?
Yeah, both
If
have to
they're
work.
switching?
Well,
never
both
mind.
have to be better, I think.
It's a tall order.
Tack and Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. I have no idea if that's
Tack
true.
and the Power of Juju.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm
Brave
gonna
and the
say-
Search for Spirit Dancer.
Yeah.
I think if you switch Vex and Brave from Brave and the Search for Spirit Dancer,
Yeah.
I think you'd wind up with a pretty good game. Or if you switch Ty and the Tasmanian Tiger with a Banjo from
Wait,
Banjo Kazooie.
How about Marcus Phoenix and Conquer? Switch.
Yeah.
It would be funnier, and I think it would work in a certain way.
Conker's too under the table for me. Too meta.
Yeah.
Just doing dark deals.
I mean, I don't want to play Conquer. I guess that's so. I've kind of priced myself out of my own conversation.
No, Conker blows.
Yeah.
I think if you switch most fighting game protagonists, not much changes.
Yeah, but it's got to be better, I think. Right?
Hmm.
Is that the prompt?
So what I was thinking is if you were to put like Kiryu into LA Noire, that would be fun.
Yeah, but LA guy has to now be in a
Yeah, I know.
Yakuza.
He has
Yeah.
a gun with infinite ammo, and the battles in Yakuza are boring. The battles in LA Noire are boring because you have a gun with infinite ammo. Now you're a guy with fists. So that's my answer.
I can see it.
Well,
It's perfect.
he has fists. They're just really boring fists.
Well, no. Kiryu fights with his fists.
Right, but
You press the buttons and he punches.
LA man also punches. It's just
No.
really bad. Yes, he does. You get
Yeah,
a
well,
fist fight.
it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
I'm talking about
correct.
I'm talking about the shooting battles, right? There you go. That's my answer. Without talking too much about LA Noire. I don't want to talk too much about LA Noire.
Here's our next question. Terrace asks, what was the secret of Evermore?
That it's much better than Secret of Mana.
It was that big dinosaur skull, right?
I think
The
that's
secret,
it, yeah.
the secret of Evermore is that Secret of Mana is not, it's not that good. Secret of Mana is, you know what the secret of Mana is? It's that nobody played 3-player Super Nintendo games, so nobody knew how good the 3-player mode was, but we all assumed it was going to be pretty good. And then when you finally do play it, like in college, it's not. That's the secret of Evermore. Is that it's good that it's a 1-player game and that they focused on the 1-player element of it, and that any hacks introducing 2-player mode are missing the point. Fantastic video game.
Well kept secret.
And it actually had a pretty good soundtrack by a non-Japanese composer, but we're not allowed to say his name anymore.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Our last question will also serve as our lightning round.
Oh, okay.
Crumbling Zero wants us to rank the 10 highest rated games on Metacritic from best to worst.
Okay.
I'll start with number 10 and number 9 and work up, but we'll be ranking them as we go.
Okay.
Okay, number 10 is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and number 9 is Disco Elysium The Final Cut. Which one is better?
Jeez.
I like Disco Elysium a lot more. Is it better?
Same.
Eh.
Yeah.
I think that Disco Elysium is better, but I'd rather play Breath of the Wild.
I would rather light up and play Breath of
Sure.
the Wild.
Yeah.
People are constantly asking me what I think of Disco Elysium. In other news, today I'd like to say, I'd light up Breath of the Wild over Disco Elysium right now.
That's fair.
I think we should do this in terms of what we would rather play right now. So I think
I like that.
Or
Okay.
just keep the metrics morphable as we go. Who knows?
Sure.
Yes.
Keep
correct.
them flexible.
Number 8 is Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So I would rather play that than either of the other two right now, but it's probably because I've played the other two and I haven't played Grand Theft Auto in years. And I haven't played 5 at all, actually.
Well, Frank, I was just playing Grand Theft Auto 5 immediately before this podcast, and I'd rather light that up over. It seems like I would rather. The answer is clear. I would rather play that over Breath of the Wild.
For me, it's at the bottom, but I know that I'm going to be in the minority here.
I like 5 a lot less than some of the other Grand Theft Autos, but I do like it probably more than Breath of the Wild, and absolutely would rather play that than probably either of these two right now.
Yeah, and I don't know, Breath of the Wild is... My problem with Breath of the Wild is just not much to... I don't know, it feels very empty to me.
I like how little there is to do.
It's fun to glide.
Yeah, I like just running around and finding a chest in the empty
Frank
world.
was telling me before the show his actual problem with Breath of the Wild is not enough frames per second.
That's right. Number 7 is Red Dead Redemption 2.
Whoo!
Top of the list.
Yeah, top of the list, I would say, so far. Man, Red Dead Redemption 2 is a game that some people came for it, like 2 years ago. And like 2 years after it came out, they were like, did anybody... Is it okay to say now that Red Dead Redemption 2 is not a good game? And it's like, no, it is a good game, actually. Thank you. I settled the argument for...
Do we have a new Citizen Kane of video games?
Lots of people. Everyone is very glad that I've settled the conversation. It's a good game.
Thanks for doing that.
And it's a Zelda. It's a Grand Theft Auto. It's a cowboy simulator. It's got a story. It's well written. It's well acted. The cops are coming for me as I divulge the truth.
Yeah, I mean you're I don't know if they agree with you, but that's the cops for you.
The cops are like, he can't tell the truth. We can't
they
let this guy
can't hear
tell.
this. They can't know Red Dead Redemption 2 is good.
I was, no joke, playing Red Dead Redemption 2 this morning before I played Grand Theft Auto 5. So, I mean, I still think that game's really good as well. Not for any particular reason.
Yeah, throw it up there. It's the first one on the list that I haven't played, just because I don't have much opportunity to play big games anymore. I have Final Fantasy XIV in my life, but I would definitely try it out.
If it helps, Red Dead Redemption 2, here's the thing Red Dead Redemption 2 has that no other Rockstar game specifically has, is it has the missions. You know how the missions are nice and short in your typical Rockstar game? They're still nice and short in Red Dead Redemption 2, but they are very, very, very well structured in terms of short fiction. And each of them feels like a delicious experience. So it just playing one mission feels like something. And also, more, if I can just review Red Dead Redemption 2 here for a minute. Again, not only is it well written, it is about something politically and just thematically. It has themes, and it actually is about a thing, which you can't really say about a whole lot of stuff. And it is more so than other Rockstar games. You don't really have to do side quests. You can, obviously, but if you don't do any side quests and just go straight through the story, it feels genuinely still very meaningful and impactful and fun and whatever.
And that all comes through on like a mission-to-mission basis?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll try that.
In fact, it probably comes through better if you're not binging it.
Sure.
Because the setup of the game is you're a bunch of cowboys in a camp, and you're trying to found a community which can become a town, a village, a city. It's about American exceptionalism, right? So there's a whole lot of stuff in there, and it's very, very subtly and smartly written. It's just a genuinely good game that it's weird that it's not higher than 8 on Metacritic's list. 7? Is that what you're saying?
It's 7 on Metacritic. Yeah,
it's okay, maybe 17. I don't know. I would assume it'd be like top 5, but no, there are too many people who think it's woke, or that it's what are the other words? Slow. People think it's slow. I don't know. They don't like that it's not exactly that. We don't have that. That it robbed them of Grand Theft Auto 6 is another thing that you see in a lot of the Metacritic 1 out of 10 reviews for user reviews for Red Dead Redemption 2. It's like, give us Grand Theft Auto 6, not this.
Top of the list, then.
Yeah, so far, we're hewing pretty close to the list itself. I have a feeling that's about to change. Number 6 is Super Mario Galaxy 2.
I would put that bottom of the list. It's an unremarkable 3D platforming game.
Yeah.
It's just unremarkable. Can't put that over Disco Elysium.
I mostly watch 3D Mario games. I don't play them.
Well, you're one of the lucky ones then.
To me, it's second on the list so far. I'd rather play that than the rest, but that's me.
Really?
I think we can all agree that Balan Wonderworld is better, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because the creator, the director of Balan Wonderworld is in jail.
He is in jail.
And the director of Super Mario Galaxy 2 should be in jail. No, Super Mario Galaxy 2 is better than Super Mario Galaxy 1 by a long shot, though.
You know, it's funny you should say that because number 5 is Super Mario Galaxy 1.
That's so depressing.
I don't want to play either of those games.
Yeah, I also don't want to play either of those
Okay,
games.
so Frank, where would you put Mario Galaxy 1 versus
Well,
Mario
I
Galaxy 2?
haven't played 2,
Oh, you haven't?
and I've been told that it's better.
It's better because it doesn't have a stupid, like, hub world nonsense. It has a menu.
That didn't bother me. I loved Galaxy.
Well, I mean,
don't know.
that's not why it's better, but
Sure.
it's also just got actual, like, level designs instead of point your pointer at some space junk and fly toward it. A yippee wahoo. Charles Martinet can't even remember what Mario's voice is supposed to sound like in Super Mario Galaxy. He gets it wrong like half the time. It's very perplexing.
Well, that's what happens when you're out in space. The vocal cords shift.
That makes
That's
sense.
what happens when he's been out in space for years now, if you know what I mean. I'm talking about that moon dust that you're supposed to put it up your nose, Charles. Not, you're supposed to put a little bit of it in the nose, not a whole snowball handful in your mouth,
Wahoo yippee.
Number 4 is Soul Calibur.
But we didn't rank them.
Yeah, we did. We put them at the bottom of the list.
Wait, did
Okay.
we? Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, Brandon didn't step in, so it got.
Okay, Brandon, do you want to step in?
I mean, I don't want to play those games, but
Yeah, I assumed you would put them on the bottom as a famous Nintendo hater.
but I feel like that kind of excludes me really from ranking them because
Would you play Super Bonk Galaxy?
Yeah, I'd give it a shot. Now, I feel like I shouldn't be allowed. Actually, I feel like I probably shouldn't be allowed to vote on most of these because I think most of them are just like not really for me. So
You should play Red Dead Redemption 2, though. I think.
Yeah, I'll
I
give
think
it a shot eventually,
You'd
but-
like that one.
Somebody should. Y'all should have a little discussion about where it goes, just because Frank wants them at the top and Tim wants them at the bottom. And
would you rather play the Galaxies than Breath of the Wild, Frank?
Would I rather play the? Yes, I would.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I would rather put. Wait, so Breath of the Wild. So what's our number 1 so far?
Right now, our number 1 is Red Dead Redemption 2.
Okay, that's our number 1. What's our number 2? Is that Breath
Grand
of the
Theft Auto
Wild?
5.
I mean, if you put them over, okay, they're on the bottom now, but there's probably going to be a bunch of stuff underneath them in a little bit. If I know gamers, I know that there's going to be some stuff under these games. Probably Ocarina of Time is number 1 or whatever. Throw that on the bottom.
No spoilers.
Yeah, no offense to Ocarina of Time, but get goddarn blasted. Okay, let's just hear some more of these games, and then we'll look at this list as we go.
Can we compromise by putting them above Disco Elysium for now?
I mean, that's I don't know. Didn't the Disco Elysium creative directors get canceled recently?
only sort
No,
of.
they canceled themselves or whatever.
They kind of there was a little bit of self-cancellation happening. I wish I could cancel myself.
So I mean, in terms of what's better, yeah, Disco Elysium. In terms of what I'd rather play right now, I mean, I'm not going to play Disco Elysium a second time. Like I've
just
done
put
that.
just put them up there. Just put them up there. Who cares? Yeah, put them up. Yeah, I don't care.
Why not?
The next game is Soul Calibur.
I'd put Soul Calibur on the bottom. I'd slop it on the bottom. That's a game from 1999. The gamers' obsession with Soul Calibur as a game. It was a cheap trick. It was a one trick. It was a cool looking game when it came out, but it has been so snowed over with infinitely better games that it's a little bit insulting to the likes of Daisuke Ishiwatari that people continue to just flop out Soul Calibur as their example of a good fighting game or whatever. It's broke. It's busted. It's old. It's crusty. It's trash. I mean, it's wonderful, but it's old and busted. Stop idolizing Soul Calibur. Make yourself a Kobe beef burger out of that particular sacred cow and play Guilty Gear for God's sake.
Any Soul Calibur
Thank
defenders
you.
here?
I'm good at it in arcades. I can usually make $5 if I bet somebody. But other than that, I like Soul Calibur. I grew up on it. It does not really hold up. I agree with that. There's certainly better stuff that...
It's old and busted.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was. I mean, Soul Edge was better than Soul Calibur. I was telling people this when Soul Calibur came out. I was like, Soul Edge is better, and people were like, you mean Soul Blade? And I was like, yeah. Also known as Soul Blade.
Soul Calibur 2 a lot better.
It is much better, yeah.
I like Soul Calibur 3. I fell into that weird RTS single player mode they had.
I know the one.
I think the newer Soul Caliburs are all generally pretty okay when one comes out.
Yeah.
It was a moment that game just kind of established just earned immortality in 5 seconds, and it's never let go.
It looked really cool on the Dreamcast. It was a reason to have a Dreamcast.
That was the only thing I was going to say, is this is the only Dreamcast game on here, but still.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's not really a Dreamcast game. It's an arcade game.
It's
so,
true.
I mean, like, whatever.
But it is kind of a Dreamcast game, because it looked better on the Dreamcast than it did in the arcade.
Maybe that's the Dreamcast's problem, that we were excited about an arcade. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. Who cares? Talking about Dreamcast later someday. Thank you.
Yeah, I was thinking bottom.
Yeah,
I'd put it on the bottom. Yeah, it is a 23-year-old fighting game. I mean, come on.
All right. Game number 3 is Grand Theft Auto 4.
I would put that above Soul Calibur. I mean, I'd put it above the Mario Galaxy. Again,
Yeah.
I don't know. Put it above Soul Calibur. It's a good game. Those games are good. Whatever.
It's the one I remember liking most. I don't know if it holds up in any way.
Yeah, that was my game.
You might see that, like, as with so many things on a list like this, you might only remember liking it most because of a specific age you were,
Sure,
or a
that's
specific
true.
place. Right. So a specific place
These are
you
all
were when you played
context
it.
dependent.
Yeah. If we're trying to divorce them from that, are we? I don't know. With the whole "would we play it right now" thing.
Yeah.
I played Grand Theft Auto 4 somewhat recently. Not today. It was about 4 days ago I played it. Though, that game's still all right. Like, whatever.
It can go above Soul Calibur.
Anyone have a problem with that?
It's got cousin Nico in it.
Yeah. Nico, my cousin.
Yeah, I mean, he's my cousin.
It's got a Russian radio station. I missed that in 5.
It's got good tunes in it, yeah.
Okay, Grand Theft Auto 4, number 3, but our near the bottom. Number 2 is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
Oh, THPS 2.
That just came up very recently on this show.
Yeah.
I actually like the remaster for the PC. The most recent remaster that has authentically aged skaters.
Yeah, I like that too.
I mentioned the authentically aged skaters on a stream a while back, and someone goes, I thought that was just a meme. And I was like, I almost pressed the button to just end the stream.
That was a very cool idea to have all of those same people, and like here they are, much later.
Yeah, it rules.
I assume we're talking about the original Tony Hawk 2. Would I rather play that? I mean, the problem is like the would I play this right now thing is going to greatly weight toward games that I can play about 5 to 10 minutes of.
Well, it can be whatever you want. We're adjusting on the fly here.
So THPS 2, see, I would throw it in the trash next to Skate 3,
Sure.
which is 4K 60 FPS, backward compatible on the Xbox Series X. A native 4K. It looks beautiful. It looks incredible. And it's just the old game. So,
And I assume Skate 3 is number 1 on this list.
probably. It's probably up there.
Who can tell?
Yeah, but THPS. So, like, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 being up there, near Soul Calibur, 1999. This just kind of speaks to, gamers got locked in, man. Gamers got locked in at a very specific point in history, and we're about to find out what locked them in.
we sure are.
Yeah, and it's, I don't have time to get into the complexity with which I have somewhat recently regarded this warden of the gamer's jail. Though the fact that little cracks of light entering the spaces between the bricks of said disgusting prison happen in the shape of Soul Calibur and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. You're really seeing just the crucible of the dorm room that formulated the exact thimble of the gamer's sippy cup. Put it under Disco Elysium. I don't know.
Above 4? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Everything is just above or below Disco Elysium at this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
it's
about
weird.
right.
It's weird that it's on there. It's probably because of some swarm of activity. Somebody probably wrote a bot. Can't trust this trash.
And our number one highest rated and reviewed video game of all time as measured by Metacritic is, of course, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. No, I'm just kidding. It's
the
Ocarina
Citizen
of Time.
Kane of video games, The Legend of Zelda, The Ocarina of Time.
It's all right. That's my review. It's all right.
Yeah, I mean, I have so many thoughts about it because I played it until there was no more heck left in it very recently. Not even for an upcoming video project. I played it for a variety of reasons. And I mean, I was a full adult when the game came out, basically a full adult, right? I liked it when it came out. I liked Majora's Mask, but going back to that game now, that is a crusty, dusty video game, dude.
Yeah.
I dare say the original Tomb Raider has aged better. Instead of Zelda Ocarina of Time, you should play Tomb Raider 1 and Super Mario 64, and then Breath of the Wild. I don't know. I don't think that is a crusty, dusty game, dude.
Yeah, I don't have much affection for Zelda games to kind of begin with. I played Ocarina, or like I played half of it and then watched someone play the rest. And that was in like 2014, and I thought, yeah, I see how this could be.
Yeah, you missed the boat, by which I mean the boat to prison.
I didn't really want on that boat.
You missed the boat from the beginning of Dark Savior, which is a boat to prison. So that's Ocarina of Time put gamers in a philosophical jail in which they continue to willingly wallow, and it is such an archetype. It is so talked about. I will never use the word overrated because it's just traction. It got that jail-style traction all the way back in 1990. God darn 8. The moment people learned about the ability to pre-order such a thing, and they've been locked in ever since the first letters columns on videogames.com or Imagine Games Network emerged from the ethereal woodwork. Gamers have willingly thrown away the key to the cell labeled Zelda 64, you know? And they've just been stuck in there. Their brains have been locked in that jail for a very long time. And it's okay. Game's all right. Did some neat stuff with geometry. It's kind of got Luigi and Mario in there.
True.
You know, you can play an ocarina. A lot of people, you know, it's okay to admit who you are. A lot of people didn't know what an ocarina was before they played that game. Some people went years thinking it was something from Zelda until they see one in real life and realize it's not from Zelda. It's from right here. I was standing by someone's side when they had that realization once. God darn goosebumps. Upside down ones. You know? Thousands of little tiny dimples in my skin at that moment. Inverse goosebumps, Jerry. Inverse ones. Upside down ones. Castlevania Symphony of the Night Part 2 goosebumps.
I feel like it did a lot of stuff at the time people were hoping that kind of stuff would be done. It feels like the game that people were hoping would exist, and then it existed. And they're like, okay, best game ever.
It did stuff that was already done elsewhere.
Sure.
Better. I mean, it was done better elsewhere, but here it's all done. You know, it's come on down to the goddarn sizzler. We've got all this stuff. You want bread? We got free bread. It's been sitting here for a day. Come eat some hard bread.
And we poured Nintendo polish over all of it.
Except, interestingly, you know, this is fun. A fun little data point is that polish is almost nowhere to be seen in Ocarina of Time. It is remarkably unpolished. It is remarkably rough, which is why it's interesting that so many people keep like remaking segments of Ocarina of Time in the Unreal Engine just for the Twitter engagement, right? It's like, you know, you just made something way better, like objectively better. I'm a professional video game critic. Let me tell you, kids, you made something better. Just make something new, and it'll be better as well. I don't know.
So we all unequivocally stand by the statement that Disco Elysium is better than Ocarina of Time.
I do.
Yeah, I'd put it in there.
I love Ocarina of Time. It was a game that really opened my eyes to what video games could do. But yeah, that's just me projecting myself to where I was at a particular point in time. Played this game with my dad. Dad, if you're listening, yes, it's still the best game of all time. You don't have to update your personal files.
I'm too hardcore a fan of Link to the Past and Link's Awakening, and I don't like the fact that every person who's like 1 or 2 years younger than me, it seems to have the opinion that all the Zelda games before Ocarina of Time weren't that good. I've seen people say this.
Oh.
They're coming for Casablanca next, I'm telling you.
I will say not only would I rather play Link to the Past and Link's Awakening more than Ocarina of Time, but I have played them many more times than I have Ocarina of Time.
They are rock solid action games of the highest caliber, higher than Soul Calibur. And then, I've got way too much. I've got actual articulate thoughts about Ocarina of Time that I don't want to. We don't have time to get into right now. No, I'm not going to review Ocarina of Time. I played it just to try to refresh my cultural cachet for this game, to try to keep it up to date. And I'm being as negative as I can here, partially out of a desire to remain theatrical, though also it's just, I think we can kind of quietly remove its masterpiece badge at some point in the future. So, if anybody on Metacritic wants to get around to that, just to take its verification badge off or whatever it is.
And try out Link Between Worlds. That one's
Link
really
Between
good.
Worlds rules.
Yeah, that's a real good one.
Here's what I'd like to propose. We put Ocarina of Time below Disco Elysium, maybe above Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. What do you think?
Sure.
I'm all right with that.
You can do it.
We'll do that, and I'd like to make one more adjustment. We raise Disco Elysium 2 above Super Mario Galaxy 2.
I'm in favor of that.
Like I was saying, Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 were at the bottom early, and now they're moved up. That
is the little joke I was making there, yeah.
Yeah, very good, very good. I would rather play Mario Galaxy 2 than Ocarina of Time.
Oh, that's fun. Our bottom two are number 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I really think if Nintendo... Okay, so here's okay, I know I'm going to get 100 people asking me about Ocarina of Time, so give me a second here. If Nintendo were to do a remake of Ocarina of Time that fixes the camera, lets me use the right analog stick to move the camera, maybe it's 60 FPS, maybe it has a couple of menus that are a little more responsive. I played it on real Nintendo 64 hardware when I replayed it. I played it under the exact original specifications. If they were to just make it with just a nice camera that I can control, it would be a much, much better game, but it would still also not be super duper great. Thank you.
Okay, we have a list here.
Thank you.
And we'll publish it on forums.insertcredit.com, and you'll be able to see it on the Patreon. This is the point in the show where we recommend things or plug projects we have in development if we are so inclined to do that. Does anyone have anything they'd like to share this week?
Real quick, I just want to pop in and say we put number 7 out of 10 at number 1.
Oh, yeah, we sure did.
Oh, very interesting.
Nice. Good observation. I'm going to recommend nutritional yeast.
Nut yeast!
As a throwback to the beginning of this episode. It's such great.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Just you put that on anything savory. Just throw it right on there.
I can't vocally endorse nutritional yeast. You know why? Because as soon as, if I ever mention it, someone goes, "Oh, so you're a vegan? Is that what you eat instead of cheese? Do you put it on macaroni and call it macaroni and cheese?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, just kill me."
If your pet is not eating well, you can sprinkle some nutritional yeast on there. That's a trick that we've been using
I never thought of that.
In my family.
Cool.
Yeah, it's not bad for them. Obviously, they shouldn't have a huge amount because it's salty. But sometimes it also makes them drink more, which sometimes they also need to do. So, don't dump it on there, but sprinkle a dusting. And in my experience, it gets. I got Jake Kasdal's cat was underweight because of having kidney failure, which all old cats pretty much get.
KF.
And wasn't eating very much. And I basically had to order it from Amazon because no grocery store in Kyoto carried nutritional yeast, and they were very upset.
They don't have the Berkeley Bowl in Kyoto, I guess.
Those losers.
Anyway, I ordered some from Amazon Japan, and I got this cat to gain like 2 pounds in a month. It was pretty good.
Oh.
So
I give my dog a little bit of mozzarella cheese.
They love that.
He's not super hungry. We got the We got some of that organic peanut butter.
Dogs love cheese. They love peanut butter.
I bought this peanut butter. For some reason, Skippy Super Chunk has disappeared from my neighborhood and has been replaced with some brand that I've never seen before at every single store.
I mean, dogs shouldn't have Skippy because it's got sugar in it.
Well, yeah, I don't give them Skippy. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm telling a story here. So I bought this brand of peanut butter, or I was jokingly referring to it for a time as communist peanut butter, which just seems like I just invented like some Midwestern guy who thinks any brand that's not it's not even really invented. There's probably a lot of guys like this who just thinks any brand that's not like the one he recognizes is by communists. So the communist peanut butter. But no, I give my dog the Whole Foods peanut butter, the big WF.
Nice.
That's that organic one. He loves it. I mean, he goes flat out bonkers for it. It's very funny.
Well, if you have a Berkeley ball out there, you could get the stuff that they make.
That's right.
The fresh ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to get that. I mean, well, you got a Whole Foods where they have a grinder.
Yeah, that's you got the Whole Foods. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, Berkeley Bowl is basically just like a store brand Whole Foods, which makes it by default better than Whole Foods because at Whole Foods the store brand stuff is better than other stuff. So like the Berkeley brand is a store brand Whole Foods, which is like the ultimate paradox somehow, and that's why it's the best supermarket. It's the second best supermarket in the world. The number one and best is Wegmans. It's one of my few brands I wholeheartedly endorse. It's Wegmans. If you got a supermarket, if you got a Wegmans supermarket anywhere near where you are, it's worth driving 3 hours to. I'm just kidding. No, don't drive 3 hours to Wegmans.
Not to be confused with Redner's.
We were going to get like an apple pie or a pumpkin pie because it's Thanksgiving coming up. And I was like, we should go to Wegmans and get it. But it's like Wegmans is like, we used to live close to Wegmans, close enough to go there like once a week. Now we moved 3 miles away from the Wegmans, so it takes about 4.5 hours to get there. That's a New York joke. It's in Brooklyn, so I forget about it, Jake. It's Chinatown.
It's the favorite grocery store of FBI agents, we G-Mans.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Well done.
Thanks.
I mean, technically, I could really poke a whole bunch of holes in your nomenclature there, Carl.
Oh, could you?
But let's not bother. So let's not get too deep into.
I thought that was rock solid.
No, you clearly haven't been raised to hold in utmost regard the individuals of the intelligence industry, but that's probably good. It probably works out better for you. No, I'm not gonna. Never mind. I'm not gonna get into this.
Let's
here.
not. Does anyone else have anything?
I've thought a long time about what I would recommend if I was on the show, and I never really came up with a good answer. But I've talked about my wife a lot, and my wife has showed me the show Princess Tutu, which is an anime that I really, really, really strongly recommend you watch. It's extremely good. I know Jaffe can back me up on that.
It's great. No notes.
Is it on the Crunchyroll or whatever?
I can't find it anywhere. It's on the Pirate Bay.
All right.
I think you'll find it on Fandango.
Nice. Fandango's gone. R.I.P. Fandango.
Fandango.
You'll have a real good time with that.
I'll give it a look. I have a recommendation, which is the band Duma from Kenya. They're a industrial metal-ish band. I was just reminded of them because they're coming to play in Oakland on the 30th, which is in 8 days. You might still have time to buy tickets if you're in the Bay Area. You could go see them at the Elbow Room before it shuts down. Like all other things in Oakland, everything's shutting down, and anything that's cool can't exist anymore. It's not allowed. So yeah. Anyway, check out Duma. You might find it interesting. It's got a unique vibe. The end.
I just want to recommend that. I'm not actually recommending you go to Wegmans. I don't want to be seen as though I'm endorsing or advertising anything for complicated business reasons. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Recommendation rescinded.
Nothing so mundane as a grocery store, recommended by me. Not here, not today, Jerry.
I have some recommendations. I'd like to recommend that if you're listening to this show in some format where you can subscribe to or review podcasts, especially iTunes, we really need it in iTunes because of RSS refresh.
The incident.
Yeah, the incident. That you do that for us to help keep the algorithms in our favor. You can also go to patreon.com/insertcredit, the home of all the questions you heard today, where you could become a patron to submit your own topics, listen to monthly bonus episodes, get other exclusive content. Do not send your questions to Tim Rogers. You will fall on deaf ears.
Mhm.
You'll be ridiculed. You can also join our community at forums.insertcredit.com or look for Insert Credit on YouTube, or are we doing a Hive or a Mastodon? Is that happening? We'll figure it out.
We'll see.
Whichever of them's the least evil. This show is edited by Esper Quinn.
Wahoo!
With original
right.
music by Kurt Feldman. I'm Alex Jaffe.
I'm Frank Cifaldi.
I'm Tim Rogers.
I'm Brandon Sheffield.
I'm Esper Quinn.
Wahoo.
Wahoo!
And you may now extract your Draculas. Esper, you haven't done this
Yes.
before, but what you want to do is you're going to want to take your audio and upload it to Google Drive, make a link to that, and put that in the chat so that our editor can download it and sync it with the rest
That's
of
right.
Very good joke.
Okay, I'll make sure to do that. Thanks for letting me hang out, everybody. This was a cool
Yeah,
time.
thanks for
it. It
coming.
was great.
Yeah, smoke weed. Smoke
Definitely.
weed.
Hey, I'm probably about to. In all seriousness,
Smoke weed.
Well, enjoy yourself.
Get
Thanks.
some.
You're allowed. It's legal.
I don't need to edit right now.